Hi, I'm Joe Finsternis, and today I'll be talking to you about a movie called Raising Cain. Now, the plot of this movie is a little hard to describe. Basically, it's about this man named Carter, played by John Lithgow, who has multiple personality disorder, and the cover to the DVD box is pretty misleading because it says here, when Jenny cheated on her husband, he didn't just leave, he split, which basically tells you that he develops this other side after he finds out that his wife isn't being faithful, which in the movie he's actually crazy from the get-go. You know, he developed a multiple personality after being abused as a child by his father, who is this mad scientist. And in the movie he has this other personality named Cain, who's sort of there to do the dirty work for him. Basically, his father has him going after these parents and murdering them and bringing their kids to him so that he can do experiments on them. And somehow his wife doesn't know about it, nor does she know about the whole multiple personality thing until very late in the movie. Plus, when they show Cain, I think it's kind of interesting because they show him and Carter talking to each other, you know, as if they're different people, which they've done this sort of thing with multiple personality characters in other movies, but I still think it's sort of interesting. I prefer this to just watching someone talk to a mirror or whatever. When you see Cain, though, you can tell that he's a bad guy because he's wearing sunglasses and smoking. If you can't already tell by now, this isn't a very good movie. And if it sounds a little cheesy and convoluted, you know, with the whole kidnapping kids and taking them to the mad scientist, it pretty much is. And it concentrates heavily on Carter's wife for a while, you know, and as she starts cheating on him, you know, with this guy that she used to go out with named Jack, she gets stressed out, and you get these scenes where bad things start happening, but then it turns out that she's just having nightmares, and whenever that comes up, it's pretty obvious. I mean, the first time it happens, I didn't actually think that she was dreaming, but, you know, she and Jack, they go into the woods to have sex, and it's right by this public park, and Jack is actually staying in a hotel, so I'm thinking, why don't they just go there, you know? This just doesn't feel real. And it turns out that she's having a nightmare, but then weirdly, later on in the film, it turns out that that actually did happen. Moving on, I'm not even going to try to explain the mechanics of it because I do not understand how this plot works. Anyway, John Lithgow not only plays, you know, different sides to this one character, but he also plays his own father in the movie, which was also sort of interesting because this man is supposed to be the spitting image of his dad, so having him play the father and wearing age makeup, you know, seemed like a pretty good idea. What was not, though, was giving him this accent that he had. His dad is supposed to be sort of a Swedish mad scientist, and his accent is just terrible. You know, but John Lithgow, he is a pretty good actor, I think, and his performance as Carter and even as Cain, despite the sort of corniness of that character, I thought that he did a pretty good job with them. And there's even a scene very late in the film which I thought was pretty good, where Carter was hypnotized by a psychiatrist to sort of bring forth his other personalities, and he assumed the role of this other side of himself named Josh, who was very meek and sort of childlike. You know, when the psychiatrist asks him how old he is, he says that he's 7.5, and the dialogue between him and the doctor during that scene was almost heartbreaking to listen to, and I think it would have been much more powerful and emotionally effective if it had been surrounded by a better movie. I mean, for the most part here, every time something that's supposed to be scary or suspenseful happens, it just comes off as incredibly laughable. For example, there's a scene where Carter's about to go after his wife, and this random kid just comes out of a public restroom and talks to him in this unnaturally deep voice like, "I know what you're going to do, and it's a bad thing." They must have used the same kid later on in the movie Legion. "You're gonna die now." Yeah, it's dumb. Plus, I'm not even gonna spoil anything here, but one of the biggest laughs came in the scene that happened right before the credits of the movie. I mean, it just had me sitting there with my face like this. What? I mean, unfortunately though, the movie doesn't even work as a so bad it's good sort of film. Don't get me wrong, this is the kind of movie that I would love to see the Nostalgia Critic do a video on at some point, but it doesn't really stand up there for me with movies like Troll 2 or even The Happening, where I could watch those movies again and laugh at how bad they are. And I mean, I could probably laugh again at this movie, but there were certain scenes where I found myself just zoning out because I did not care about what was going on. So yeah, it went from accidentally comedic to accidentally boring. And despite some pretty good performances and a sort of interesting premise, the film was just handled badly. The director of the film is Brian De Palma, who has shown his worth in the past. I mean, he gave us Scarface as well as the original Carrie, and here it looks as if he doesn't even know what he's doing. And I don't really know what else to say about the film. This video has gone a little too long now, so I think I'll just wrap it up and say don't watch it. Anyway, that's it for my review. I hope you all have a good one.